Scotland's ultimate fate at this World Cup still remains very uncertain indeed. Scotland 0, Brazil 3.
Very uncertain. So what are Scotland's chances of qualification now? Well, Opta gives them less than 50% chance. Tonight, the Titan Army needs Curacao and Ecuador to fail to get a win in Group E, and Austria to beat Paraguay 2-0 to help them qualify. It's asking a lot, isn't it? Captain John McGinn, who scored Scotland's only goal in the tournament so far, gave an honest reflection after the game about the team's performance.
They opened us up too many times. It was sort of self-inflicted mistakes, and I think the scoreline was a fair one. Leaves us in the worst possible position from this morning. We give ourselves a good platform to go and qualify, and tonight we've made it very difficult. There's no hiding for that. We need a lot to go away, but we'll hope. But what we do need to be, if we manage to get through, is a lot better, and we know that.
Bentley, Scotland have got good players, right? Yeah. McGinn and McTominay, to name but two. Are you surprised with players like that in their first 11, not just the squad? They haven't done better. I mean, 1 goal in 3 games, just not good.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from a stats perspective, I was going to say statistically, but I hate trying to say that.
Say again?
Statistically, that's right.
Yeah, you said it absolutely perfectly.
Yeah. But scoring 1 goal, has not been good enough, and maybe they could have been more competitive in the games against Haiti, and I know they beat Haiti, Morocco and Brazil, but they're exactly where I thought they'd be in the group. Like I knew they weren't going to. I didn't think they'd finish above Brazil. I didn't think they'd finish above Morocco, but I thought they'd finish above Haiti. And again, even if you look at the games that they've played, the 3 games, I think a lot of people would have said they can beat Haiti. They'll probably get beat by Morocco and get beat by Brazil. But I think it's just the manner of the performances that...
Chances, they'll look back.
It's chances, but not only that, they never gave themselves a chance in either game. Certainly the 2 against Morocco and Brazil. When you concede so early against Morocco, and they're a good side, by the way, Sabari scores an unbelievable finish. And then Brazil, you're gifting them goals.
Can't do that.
You can't do that against not a level of opposition that are that good. You might get away with it with Haiti, and that's no disrespect to Haiti, but you're not going to get away with it, Brazil, Morocco.
I agree. So what has the reaction been in Scotland? Well, delighted to say for more on this, Scotland's editor of the Scottish Sun joins us, David Friel. David, good morning to you. How you doing?
I've been better.
Yeah.
I've been better. Strange night, a strange morning.
I don't know if you've been listening to me and Bentley talk about Scotland, so close but no cigar. Do you feel as though it has been so close, like you could almost touch it? Or do you look at the 3 games and think, you know what, we were never really good enough?
I think, to be honest with you, I think Darren probably hit the nail on the head there. Scotland are where we probably expected them to be. And, after the Haiti win, people did say that might be a missed opportunity and not getting a few more goals. I think the pressure was on the players. I think they just had to take the win. I think the disappointing thing against Morocco and Brazil has been that the goals that have conceded have been they've been self-inflicted. And, you look at conceding after 2 minutes against Morocco, and then you look at the manner of the Brazil goals. We gifted them 2 goals, could have been 3 in the first half, but for the VAR intervention. So before the tournament, we heard a lot of stuff from Steve Clarke, from the players, about no regrets and leaving it all out there. And I think they'll be walking off that pitch last night full of regret, to be perfectly honest with you. Nobody expected them to beat Morocco or beat Brazil, but I think it's just the manner of the defeats, and especially the manner of how we've conceded the goals.
What more do you think Scotland could have done? Because I said it at the top, but I just think they didn't give themselves a chance, certainly in the Morocco game. But when you look at the Brazil game last night, to me, I know he made a lot of changes, and I wouldn't say he listened to the supporters, but he did try to change it up. Do you think he got his tactics spot on, or do you think they were just too open?
No, I don't think they were too open at all. Last night he put in Lawrence Shankland, who a lot of Scotland fans have been clamouring for as the striker. Ben Gannon-Doak played as a winger, so it was a far more attacking lineup, certainly, than previous games. What I would say is, I just think defensively we put ourselves into real trouble needlessly. Brazil sat off Scotland, they let Scotland have the ball, and it was almost just like setting traps, and we fell into them. You saw Scott McKenna's mistake for the first goal. Jack Henry gets away with one. It was a foul, fair enough. Then Andy Robertson for the second goal just has to clear it. And I think at 2-0 down against Brazil, you're going to have to open up in some way to try and get a goal. And look, it wasn't a surprise at all that Brazil picked us off, and they could have scored more in the end. And I just feel that the big players never really turned up as we expected them to. We don't have that world-class striker, so you're relying on a Scott McTominay or a McGinn, a Ben Gannon-Doak, guys like that. I think John McGinn has worked himself to a standstill. I think others have probably not hit the heights, anywhere near the heights that we expected them to. And if you add in the defensive mistakes, I'm not really surprised we are where we are.
I hate picking on one player because I think it's a collective, but a lot was made of Scott McTominay when he came to this tournament because of what he'd done. He'd been absolutely incredible in qualifying, and of course we all remember the overhead kick against Denmark. What did you make of his performance from certainly in this group stage?
Yeah, look, the first game he was ill in the lead up to the game. He didn't train for a few days, so I think everybody cut him some slack. Thought he was only effective really against Morocco for the last 20 minutes. He really came into the game and he felt as if he was almost unleashed in that attacking midfield role. Yesterday, given that he was playing in attacking midfield, I'll be honest, I expected a lot more of him. He was getting caught in the ball. There was a moment where Steve Clark was screaming. He just had to be a bit sharper. And look, he was getting on the end of things towards the end. He had the header and everything. He should do better. But I think we've elevated Scott McTominay to such a height. And he's been an amazing Scotland player. But again, as I spoke earlier about people with regrets, I think he'll look back in this tournament and feel he probably didn't do himself justice.
David, you could argue in all three games there were sliding doors moments. In the first game, Haiti, you could have and should have scored more goals to give yourself more of a chance if it got down to where we're at the moment. In the Morocco game, you conceded way too early and you set up, I think, too defensively. And in the third game against Brazil, you gifted them goals. If there was one match you look back at and think that's the game that we should have done things differently, what one would you say?
I would say Haiti. And people said it at the time. I think Haiti, I just feel that the pressure on the players really, really impacted them. For the last 20 minutes of that game, we were probably hanging on to a point. Scotland are a far better team than Haiti. They've got far better players than Haiti. And there was a nagging feeling after that game that it was going to be a missed opportunity of not getting the 2 or 3. And that's how it's probably going to turn out. Because the goal difference just now is -3. If you score another 1 or 2 against Haiti, you're in a completely different situation. I mean, you were talking about permutations earlier on. I had a look and it's anything between now 27% to 33%. But I'll go back to what Steve Clark said after the game last night. He said he thinks Scotland are going home, and I kind of agree. I think there's too many results that have to go in their favour. South Africa's win last night was a real blow for that. And you know what? I can understand the argument. I don't think Scotland deserve to go any further.
Okay. Very honest. David, thanks for that. Always a pleasure speaking to you. Have a good day, mate.
Thanks, David.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man. There you go. The sports editor for the Scottish Sun, David Friel, being very honest.